If you're looking for a hockey video game on PC, there's not really a lot of options. In fact, when you look on Steam and if you type in hockey games verbatim, you are going to find golf games. And unless you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, that's just really not going to work. So I figured I'd just do a quick review of one of my favorite games, Franchise Hockey Manager 7. The game operates as a spreadsheet-style simulator with tons of depth and variety. The game has 4 main options at startup, all of which provide a unique experience. You can take over for a current team in one of the many leagues they offer, kick it back to any season you like and change the course of history as a GM, create a universe of your own in an entirely unique league, or just simulate games between NHL teams from past or present. Unlike other sports games, each mode is fundamentally the same, but with different levels of customization and depth, or a different starting point. This means there may not be something for every hockey fan, especially at the price tag of $40, but if you're a GM mode person, there's a ton to do, and you have so much control over your team and the league. Even from setup, you begin making choices that will affect how your managerial career will pan out. Your GM stats may not overtly influence gameplay, but depending on what you're trying to do, they'll be important. If you're looking for a long-term project or want to win a cup as soon as possible, you need to keep those things in mind so you can get an edge over the rest of the league when setting up your GM. Once you get past setup and get the season started, you'll really feel the day-to-day energy of the league, especially if you simulate using the continue button as opposed to skipping over large chunks of time. Opening your inbox every day and seeing news from around the league is a really cool touch, and some of the headlines are a ton of fun. Also, interacting with your team every game allows you to feel the ebbs and flows of success and failure, which really helps make your team feel alive and also help you pinpoint what you need to improve. You can take as much or as little control as you want over your team. Things like the AI setup organization button are great if you don't want to deal with some of the nitty-gritty decisions that come with being a GM, but they're really not perfect. I've noticed that occasionally I'll end up with some of my top players being benched for seemingly no reason, and tactics that just don't gel with the system that I've built, so I use them pretty sparingly. This did make my experience better after figuring out how bad the buttons were, since it forced me to be a lot more hands-on with how I manage my team and players, but obviously it would be nice if these things were a little bit more polished just for new players. These little decisions you make help to keep you feeling in touch with your team over time, which a lot of other simulators miss out on. Unlike in EA NHL where you can handicap a bad team by playing well, you're going to have to make good decisions because of the game's hands-off nature. This level of customization and tactics makes the game into an experience where you get as much out of it as you put in, which is unlike a lot of other hockey simulators. This customization suite, combined with the NHL license, Elite Prospects partnership, and out-of-the-park developments having a great understanding of the game, makes each and every playthrough, session, and game unique, and you have to learn and gain an edge over the competition in order to do well and also have as much fun as possible. One of the new features I love is being able to watch your team playing the 2D simulator, since you can see exactly where the game engine is deciding your weaknesses are. It's not as engaging as it could be, given it is just like watching someone draw out the game on a whiteboard, but it feels a lot more natural and maintains the tension of a hockey game much better than the previous text-based simulation style. In the short term, the simulations run great, smooth, and super realistic, but it's the long-term ones that hold Franchise Hockey Manager 7 back and might keep the game from resonating with more casual audiences. Sure, the realism is there, but starting save files, moving through certain parts of the year, and anything else that's hands-off is slow. I'd recommend unselecting some of the lower-level leagues that you're not going to interact with at all just to keep speeds up, otherwise things like setup will take forever. Another gripe I have is that this game doesn't get the same attention that Out of the Park Baseball does, but I'm used to that treatment by now as a hockey fan. Out of the Park is a cool online team building mode and also received updates to allow the simulation to run a proper 2020 season, short schedule and all, and I think that would be super cool to see in Franchise Hockey Manager, given how the NHL chose to do things this year with things like the All-Canadian Division. Overall, I'd say the game's an 8 out of 10. The only thing holding it back really is just even other leading games in the market, hell, even from Out of the Park developments themselves, like Out of the Park Baseball. It's lacking some features, but other than that, I'd say it's really good. If you are a big hockey fan, I'd definitely try it out if you're familiar with GM games. I'd definitely try something like Franchise Mode on NHL 21 first, just to decide if you like it, just because it is $40. So something that you might already have, or something that's free like Hockey Legacy Manager is a better bet. If you're looking to learn hockey, I'd also start somewhere else. NHL 21 is probably your best bet, just because you're going to become a little bit more familiar with the sport because it's more interactive. But other than that, it's an awesome game, and I'd recommend picking it up. Feel free to DM me at MTNet Specialist on Instagram if you have any questions or just want like general advice. I mean, I love to hear other people talk about what their strategies are. And yeah, just remember to subscribe. A lot of people watch these videos aren't subscribed, so just make sure to subscribe for more.